Okay, let's look at the impact of patriarchy on women. The first thing is diminished autonomy. It's only lately that laws have come into effect that protect the rights of women or even empower women to have any right to vote. That's only been 100 years. 50 years ago, women was the first time women had the right to own property. Before, we were just seen as objects and property given away by a man. This is the reality of it. I remember saying to my ex's dad, "Oh, are you looking forward to giving your property away, your daughter at her wedding?" He was furious. But that's the reality of the whole thing of here, I give you away to your next man, and you're no longer my property. It is completely bizarre to live in this patriarchal world where I, as a woman, are you know, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, wouldn't have had uh, the ability to buy a house or own a credit card. There's still inequalities in wages, in leadership, and body autonomy. For example, when I got my first job, I a guy came to work after me, same education levels, but he was paid nearly a third more than me. I was just utterly outraged. In leadership, I was reading about a woman who goes and speaks about the impact of inequality. And one of the statements that she says is that there are fewer women in leadership positions than there are CEOs named Dave, or less, fewer CEO women than CEO named Dave. And the CEO of the company was called Dave. And she could not believe her luck that she was actually giving this presentation to Dave, telling him this fact. Dave was not that charmed, but the audience was thrilled. And then there's bodily autonomy, where we're told what we can wear, how short our skirts can be, how short our shirts can be, where we are controlled, especially at school, of don't wear that because the teachers or the other boys might be attracted and then they won't be able to concentrate. Instead of teaching boys how to process energy so that they are not feeling that they can take, abuse, use for their own satisfaction without regard or honoring of other people. The next thing is the objectification and harm, just of what we were saying, where there is horrendous sexual violence, where 1 in 4 women, me, by multiple people, have been sexually molested as a child, or raped or sexually assaulted along the way, or having harassment. I remember the first day my daughter came home, just stunned, walking up the hill of these men, as she was a young teenager, of men catcalling her, and her just feeling so vulnerable in the world that she couldn't walk from our house to a friend's that's just up the road. And this policing of our bodies, where instead of asking about a man who has raped somebody, even when I was raped, the first question my family, every member of my family, asked was, "What were you wearing?" Not a single one said that man was wrong. The next impact of patriarchy for women is the mental and emotional labor, where they're taught to give, where we're taught to give without any self-care. We're expected to create harmony, resolve conflicts. I know when I was a child, my brother punched me in the head, and my mother said, "Oh, go and see if he's okay. He must have had a bad day." I'd just been punched, but there was no care for my reality, that as a woman, I was expected to heal, care, love him, regardless of how he treated me. But there was no care about my well being. And then, in terms of the mental labor of organizing the households, tidying the households, where women on average do many more hours than men do in homes, and are expected to do that without complaint and just to create a home to be a loving, happy place, with no value for them and no value for that time, especially when it comes to stay-at-home moms who frequently are demeaned and told that they do nothing, where in fact they're being a cook, a cleaner, a chauffeur, a mediator, an organizer, um, you know, and none of those are paid because it's not seen as a valuable role. And then there's also that internalized oppression, where there's always a sense of not enoughness due to societal messaging that what we do is not valuable. It's a huge impact of patriarchy